Well, hello everybody. If you haven't been paying attention, Maxime Bernier arrested, being held is exactly what happened to a friend of mine, not just about a month and a half ago. Exact same thing. Held him, locked him up, and now he won't get out till he sees a magistrate, which is likely Monday. Now, I'm going to give everybody a news flash for all those condemning me and doing this and telling me how it is, and everybody knows so well. I'm a working class stiff. I worked my way to get to as far as I have in Ontario. I did that in critical services, critical needed services. That job ended. I got another one. I'm not disclosing that job. But the reality is, I start going around Quebec, Atlantic provinces. How long until I join the rest of them? How long? The government made a bold move, bold statement, zero tolerance today. Now, Maxime Bernier's got all kinds of money. He can handle it. He's got a whole party behind him. I'm trying to build a party with no funding, no nothing, and I work my way. How long will I last when my job is gone or I'm fired? How long will I last being put in and held for a 4-day weekend and then thrown into mandatory isolation in a different province, wiping you out completely? People are great talkers, big tough guys, tough women, and I'm sorry if this really offends people, but I'm a real one. This guy's actually had his face kicked in, been in jail, done all kinds of rioting in my time, in my narratives, fighting for civil rights. That's right. I've done that. Really done it in hardcore times in Canada's history. Real court cases of people fighting tooth and nail. Been there. If you haven't seen any of my YouTube stuff, that's this guy. A real one. But that was me, young guy. I'm not that guy anymore. I can't do that activity anymore. Canadians aren't even anywhere near what they used to be. Not even close. I know this for a fact. Because I'm a fighter, a real one. A guy who stands up for what they believe, takes his lumps. I've done that. And then people tell me, oh, I know what to do. Most people are not working. They're not going through this COVID crisis. They're not in the system of what the government has done in industries that those of us who are working have those challenges each and every day, let alone being an average guy crossing the country, which I have. I've never got COVID. I'm not afraid of COVID. I probably did have it in 2020. I did get real sick in Fort McMurray with thousands of visitors from all over the world, travelers. We all get sick up there, which we saw a breakout with CNRL Horizon and what happened with all those workers. That's not going to be me. That would devastate and destroy me, wipe me out, and any mission I have left of getting this party done, which is critical. I have to hit Quebec and I have to hit the Atlantic provinces. So I could be like everybody else, say, oh no, I'm not going to listen, and I'll get arrested and I'll get ruined, my triple end, I'll be back in Alberta, all kinds of money's gone, no money to pay for nothing, and where am I then? How good am I to anybody then when I can't even get the job done? And it's COVID-19, and then people sit there going, oh, I wouldn't do that, I would stand my ground. Like I said, it's easy for a lot of people who are staying home or getting their CERB checks and doing all. It's easy to talk tough, or you got the local place. You're not trying to travel across the country. We just saw what happened to Maxime Bernier. Sloan before that, they're working their way down the list. If it's hit Maxime Bernier, I'm only a few names away till it's me. And when that happens, my road trip and all of it's over. It's over. That's reality. I don't even have the party registered. I have provinces I have to go to and get the job done. Physically, I have to do that. I'm going to get the vaccine. I'm not scared of the vaccine. Is it being pushed by the government and the agenda? Sure it is. And I'm going to take it because you know what? I've looked at everything. I didn't believe any of the COVID numbers. JCCF put up a great presentation on that. The numbers are right. Nothing to what all the fear and fear-mongering had processed. None of it true. None of it true. Government stats didn't come close to what everybody thought they were. Now it's anti-vaccine. Oh, half of the Canadians, half of the world population is going to die. Agenda of the elite. That's bullshit. The vaccine is just less deadly than the virus. Now, I'm not going to die. The possibility of getting an adverse effect at my age, super low. Like we're talking 0.00 whatever percent. Just as me dying of COVID is 0.00 whatever percent. I travel the 401 and 407 every day. I'm more likely to die there than both COVID-19 or the vaccination at this stage of my life. I don't like the radical of everybody, whether it's government or the other, in which the government's worse because that's your government and that has to be fought. And then people going, oh, what about fighting for my rights not to have a vaccine? Well, of course. Why would anyone make you do anything you don't want to do? And in the name of health or somebody else's health, hey, if you're so worried about COVID-19, go get the needle, the vaccination. Go get it, just like flu shots, whatever. I've never done any of those. I'm fully immunized in everything else that I was to go through since a child. Not the 50s, we're talking the 70s. I was born in 78. I've had all my inoculations, every single one, kept up with it. And I'm in the trades. You get tetanus every now and then. I may be close to having to get that one done again too. I think vaccines are important. There's a lot of validity to them. That's my opinion. That's not for you. No problem. Do your thing. Don't get a shot. You have a religious reason, perfect. That's your thing. Go for it. But don't ever condemn me, or then you don't deserve any rights either, right? If I have a right to something and I want to use it, or anybody else for that matter, that's their prerogative. And people don't still get that. And it's nobody I really want to get into the party really with me. I don't, because they'll be the first ones to try and steal other people's rights to things. Their rights are supreme and important, but anybody else's should be discarded and thrown away. And that's wrong. But like I said, I'm booked for my first vax finally, and I'm in another province doing that. If all goes well, get home for Canada Day for a trip home. 5 days. I'm going to try and get the other half of the shot within that 2-week period. Try to be fully vaccinated by the time I return to Ontario July 4th or whatever I'm planning. That's what I hope to be. Independence Day for America is going to be me, independence of the government. I played your game. I took your shots. I'm done. Now I get to go wherever I want and do whatever I want. And I'll carry your stupid vaccine passport. And anyone telling me, oh, it's coercion, it's this or that, it's true, but at the end of the day, it's forced vaccination, people. At the end of the day, coercion equals forced vaccination. Being able to travel utilizing freedom of movement with a vaccine is called a vaccine passport. Now you can look at the history of freedom of movement passporting in regions all over the world. You're going to find Nazi Germany, and you're absolutely going to find the former Soviet Union, especially in East and West Berlin. You want to see all that? Look at Germany and the former Soviet Union. Look at that history. That's what the Canadian government's perpetrating. It's not the first time. They've done extreme left and right agendas. They've made sure that all mental handicaps were neutered completely like a pet, as sad as that is. They made sure homosexuals die alone. They used the Health Act then too. That this isn't anything not normal for our government. Somebody has to address it. Someone has to bring the autocracy to the end. And I will do that by any means necessary. I'm not afraid of nothing. I could care less. And none of you should worry about what I choose to do or how I get the road to get there. My body, my choice, whether through government coercion which is absolutely mandating forced vaccinations, or you don't have the same rights as everybody else, just like Nazi Germany and the Soviet Union. You can watch a video made several months ago. I posted this, it's on my timeline, from Vladimir Putin. I even did a breakdown of that regional governor, equivalent of governor. They don't call it governor exactly, but it's the same as the United States. And they have 2/3 of their rights. They have separate constitutions from Vladimir Putin's federal constitution, and that 2/3 of power is transferred to those regions. So even in the one-party system in Russia, Putin still has a problem with he's not allowed to infringe on those 85 regions. Many of them have militaries. Their constitution calls for this. This is why we see separatists rising up with full military gear. The Russians didn't give it to them. That was developed in their constitution. It's why they have rough breaks from federal government or independence or other issues in governance. If you pee on the regions, they come back militarily. This, uniquely, is the same thing with the United States of America. There are constitutions of state, Texas is one of them, mandating their own powerful military, and their ability, should the federal government infringe on Texas, Texas could do the same thing as well. There's lots of states like that. Not a pile, but there's a lot. That's the difference. And Canadians wouldn't understand any of this that I just related to you, because we've never had any provincial constitutions. 2/3 of your rights are not enshrined at all. They're in the back pocket of your said premier, who decides what those rights will be for you any given Sunday. And they can pick up the phone with Lieutenant Governor or any ministry that they hold. They've appointed all ministries, ladies and gentlemen. There's no election for ministries. That's 100% appointed. You all freak out about the health action. We're just going to use Alberta for an example. Well, who runs the health profile? You guys all keep saying, oh, it's the doctor, it's Henshaw. No, it was a politician you threw out on his ass in the last election. You wiped out his entire party. Stephen Mandel. Look who is on the board and runs the ministry. Look who was appointed. This isn't Hee-Haw Henshaw. This is 100% the board appointed by Premier Jason Kenney. All of them who meet routinely and decide the direction going forward. Most of these are politicians either thrown out of other provinces, some NDP, some Liberal, and some Alberta Party. They were all thrown out. You all threw them out, and now they're running your ministries. Jason Kenney didn't want any opposition from the civil societies attached to those governing parties, so he made them inside his ministry. He appointed them to an office, even though you guys all said, get out. Jason Kenney, the first thing he did was say, okay, everybody come back. I've been elected, don't worry, we can continue on the autocracy. I can go around the entire country, it's all the same. We're not free. Maxime Bernier gone, Derek Sloan shot down. It won't be very long until people's tours around Canada are over if you don't take the vaccine. Now, I could fight and, oh, you're all right. I'm not going to do the vaccine. Oh, I'm gonna play to it. And a year and a half later, as I sit in Alberta waiting for my shot to get over there, things happen and there's no party and there's no change in government. That's reality. Going to finish the party. I'm going to get the job done. People need to start waking up. If you're not working and you're not living through this or not touring across Canada, maybe you should stop throwing stones. And there's a good story for those claiming Jesus. There's all about those who are casting the stones, they don't walk a mile in the person's shoes. They have no idea what they're even talking about. They think they do in their crooked sense of the worth of the world. They believe what they're doing is right, and they're really sticking it to a person. But the reality is, those doing the most for you, those doing all the real heavy lifting, which are seldom talked about or whatever, you have no idea what they're going through. And especially when there's no money and there's no, defense for you whatsoever. The government is not easily beaten. They never lose, in fact. They always win. There's teams of lawyers who will tell you the government's never wrong, even when they're absolutely wrong. You have to fight. That's your rights you got to fight for. And until we get rid of this autocracy, this is the destiny of every Canadian eternally. And I don't see it ever getting any better. It's never changed in 900 years. It'll always be the same. That's my video today. We'll see when Bernier gets out. Will that be Monday? Is he going to be forced into quarantine as release conditions? Probably. Can you imagine? I would be next on that. That would destroy everything I've done, and I have to go back to Alberta and tell everybody, sorry everybody, I blew it. The party's never going to be registered unless we can all raise all kinds of $10,000s of dollars. Aren't we right back into the same shenanigans as the political system? Getting favors from people, borrowing. I've seen it all. This can be done. It requires personal sacrifice. And I'm going to say it again. Not scared of COVID-19. I made it this far, and I'm not scared of no vaccine. That's reality, but that's just me, my belief, and nobody should be sticking it to me over that. Thanks, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your day. Got the truck back to work tomorrow. Gonna plan for Oshawa and meeting people who wanted to get signed up. Ontario, it's tough. I gotta work out where to go with people. It's not gonna happen overnight. That's just the way it is. But my mission now is to finish this party. That means Quebec, it means the Atlantic provinces, it means me getting my vaccines. And I'm going to do that just as fast as I can. And I'm okay with that. Coerced by the government, I call it mandatory vaccinated. Is it a vaccine passport? I call it that. I don't know what else to say. People can choose to believe whatever they want, get ruffled about whatever. Coercion, call it whatever you want. I know how I believe it to be. Thanks, everybody. Have a great night. Bye now.